wonderful musical start. Good morning, Unity of Jackson. My name is Daniel Champion, and I'm opening today's service. His spiritual journey began 20 years ago when he surrendered his life to God with a two-word prayer, "Help me." After saying that prayer, the weight of decades of addictions and problems began to lift in a new way. When he surrendered to the one Creator, he rediscovered a new peace within himself that he shares with his fellow humans. And he's a leader in the 12-step community, and he has touched the lives of many.
This time of meditation, and get comfortable. Bring your attention to your breath. There's nothing you need to do except to experience it. Just notice the rhythm of it. With our breath, spirit is moving in, through, and out each of us. Know that we are created in the likeness of our Creator. Allow our bodies to relax, starting with our feet. Wiggle your toes. Flex your ankles. Allow any stress to flow up your ankles, through your calves, into your thighs, through your buttocks. Relaxation comes if we let go of anything that is not like love in our bodies. Stress is not like love, so we let it go. Up through our abdomen, through our backs, feel the energy that is here today, supporting us in this space, here to gently remind us who we really are. We have begun to notice that there's not much to really let go of, only error. This relaxation wave moves up into the chest and through the top of our head. A beam of light moving out into this world to open our hearts and minds. Let's imagine our hearts and minds are filled with warm light and taking in this wonderful warm light. Let us remind ourselves that our thoughts are what really creates what we are, our reality, because we are the creators of our experience on this plane. And so we make a commitment to ourselves to only visualize the best possible outcomes in all of our affairs. Fully relaxed and receptive, ready to live in the flow of the rhythm of life. And so we're now going to have a 3-minute quiet time at which we can practice our breathing. let us come back into our bodies by wiggling our toes and bending our ankles and moving our fingers, and by taking a few deep breaths. And so it is. Our message today is entitled Choosing Joy. Joy is found when I am loved. Joy is the very essence of God's character. How do we be in God's presence and have access to joy? What's the difference between joy and happiness? Well, we're going to have an open mic for 3 minutes, and we're going to give everyone an opportunity to answer those two questions. And at the end of those 3 minutes, I have a surprise for you.
Former President Abraham Lincoln said that people are about as happy as they make their minds up to be. And I think he hit on something that it was a certain element of truth, that happiness was a choice, and joy is a state of mind of realigning our spirits into something more gentle and finding peace and compassion in every moment.
Thank you.
Hello, Taylor. So glad to see you again. This is Belle. I hope I get to see Stella Bell sometime in person. The first thing that came to me was happiness. When I'm happy, I'm content and I'm in peace. Joy, it's when I'm in the now and I am totally grateful, and this energy is just, I'm so glad to be in that moment. That's what it means to me. Thank you.
I think of a belly laugh of children, and that spontaneous laugh, ha ha ha, to me is joy. Thanks.
I think happiness requires quite a bit of effort on our part. It's something that we choose and have to work at. And someone once told me, if you're not happy, well, get to work and do the things that make you happy. Now, when I think of joy, I think that's something that we tune ourselves into our concept of God, and when we're in that vibration of God, I think it comes automatically. There's no more work that we really have to do. And so I think one is joy comes by being with God, and happiness comes through work and effort.
Hi. I thought those were pretty good shares. Good to see all of you out there in Zoom world too. So I have a simple answer for you. That was my surprise. It was a simple answer. Happiness depends on external factors. Joy is an inside job. Okay? And happiness can go away at any time. And joy stays with us. I brought my joy with me, Stella. Stella is not cooperating. She's, come here.
She
Okay.
can be bribed.
Yes. Come up. That's a girl. That's joy. It's unbridled. It's unrehearsed. It's simply there. Happiness happens because of an outer circumstance. Sometimes we get lucky and we're happy when the thing we want to happen happens. Can anyone relate to that? Even though we may seek happiness, desire happiness, pursue happiness, happiness is dependent on outside events that can elude us and usually do. But joy is not dependent on outside events. Joy cannot be contrived or forced or faked, because joy is given to us. And the question is, are you preparing the ground to receive God's joy? Here's the question again. What's the difference between joy and happiness? Joy is God-given and always here regardless of the outer circumstances. Joy is always here regardless of the outer circumstances. Joy rises when we are as love is. Joy arises when the inner ground is tended to and shaped to allow joy. Some say joy is a choice purposefully made. Happiness happens to us, and joy is the choice one makes. The choice is to go inward and change your mind. And this is the art of joy. I'm going to give you an example. When I have this 56 Studebaker hawk, then I'll be happy. But happiness is conditional. Joy is unconditional. Unfortunately, I did not get the 1956 Studebaker hawk. I was unhappy for 3 weeks, and I'm still unhappy about it. Joy is a lens to see the world with our own divinity. Doing the inner work allows for joy. Have you ever been sad or angry and someone says, choose joy? How does that work for you? We all know that choosing joy when you're feeling sad or depressed isn't easy. In fact, it seems impossible, as if we're at the mercy of our joyless emotions, unable to rein in turbulent feelings. They just automatically kick into gear and take us for a ride, whether we like it or not. Tell a sad person to cheer up, and you're most likely to hear, I can't. Tell an angry person to let go, and you may be the recipient of a burst of anger. I've had that happen. Probably never happened to you, though. It's difficult to jump from sadness to joy in one leap, but we can make incremental movements towards joy as we turn to the inner world. Sometimes we need to grieve. Sometimes things happen. And why not be authentic about how we feel? But it is possible to be joyful, even in the event of difficult times. The presence of anger, shame, grief, sadness doesn't mean joy isn't or can't be present. And the presence of joy doesn't mean there isn't any pain in a person's heart. There's an Eastern thought about this. They refer to it as happy sad, because you can feel both emotions at the same time. And I felt them. When I lost my last dog, I can remember feeling very sad about her loss. She was with me quite a while. And I can also remember at that same moment of great sadness, feeling a sense of happiness because she brought me so much joy. Choosing joy is like choosing love. Allowing joy is a habit. Many times a day, married couples overlook the imperfections of their spouses. Do any married couples here overlook any of the imperfections of their spouses? I see a few smiles. I guess we have a few married couples. Well, my wife chose to overlook an imperfection. By the way, my wife is perfect. Just because I know she's listening. Okay, honey. She chose to overlook my alcoholism and marry me anyway because I was in recovery. And this is no small thing, because her mother's boyfriend was an alcoholic, her ex-husband was an alcoholic, her son was an alcoholic. And so she chose, because of the qualities that she saw within me, to overlook my alcoholism. I might add that I'm in recovery. I just passed my 20th AA birthday recently. And I know that I'm just one drink away. And so every day, I have to spend time with my Creator. I have to give myself that quiet time with God to allow me to be centered, to allow me to absorb my joy, to allow me to feel happiness if it's present, or sadness if it's present. It was a happy time when we got married. But, you know, I still had fear. And I was able to overcome that fear with love. I was able to allow love and therefore allow joy. Choosing joy reminds us to look beyond our immediate circumstances and to connect with grace. Joy requires connection, and that connection starts with going inward and connecting with the God within you. God always feels good. How do I make joy a habit? Good habits seem hard to come by. It's the bad ones that seem to take no effort at all. Choosing to make joy a habit requires you to turn your focus inward. Connect to your feelings. Validate your feelings and talk to yourself with compassion and care, like a loving parent consoling a child. Meditate and allow solutions and new awareness to appear. That's that quiet time. Shift your attention away from your problems. Shift your attention instead to solutions that are simple and doable. Connect with the feelings that are also effective by considering others as yourself. That's definitely a ticket to joy. And I might tell you that I don't have those solutions, but my Creator does. The ones that I need to solve the problems that are in my life. And all I need to do is be still and allow. And they will come to the surface if I do that. I also suggest you write them down when they come. Because if your memory is anything like mine, it'll get away from you. If your destination is joy, on your journey, you're going to have a collision or two, or 10. Sometimes you'll get stuck in traffic. Sometimes you'll break down. Focus on soothing yourself, and then outwards by empowering others, and to cement a new habit in place. You'll go in fits and starts. You'll make layovers, some brief, not so brief. How you choose to react to all those bumps in the road in the long term is what matters. Executing perfectly won't happen. I'm going to say that again. Executing perfectly won't happen. Thanks for allowing us to make errors today. Executing perfectly won't happen. But we're going to love you through it. Please love us as we mumble along, because our intention is to share what we hope is a blessed message. Take every moment as grace. Give thanks for every moment. It's an inward choice you make. And by doing the work, joy will find you. Joy as a resource. Think of joy as your resource. Joy is not a limited resource. It's renewable forever. Joy breeds joy. It spreads. When you allow joy for yourself, you always give it away. As you progress on your journey to joy, as you experience the peace and contentment joy brings to life, you will inevitably want to share it with others. You can go forward to find happiness. You can choose to go inward to find joy. Remember, it's an inside job. Once you choose to go inward, How you do, you prepare the inner soil for joy. So it's a conscious decision, and we need to prepare the inner soil so that we can receive joy. I deserve to feel loved in this moment. Say this out loud to yourself. I deserve to feel loved in this moment. I can't hear you. I deserve to feel loved in this moment. There is a difference in depending on my dog for fulfillment. No, don't say this along with me. There is a difference in depending on my dog for fulfillment and going inward to love myself unconditionally. And when I can do that, joy naturally rises within me. Now, this dog was given to me because I'm a combat disabled veteran and because I have bad dreams. Still, 40 years later, they're still with me. And this dog is with me to remind me to be in the moment. She puts her paws on my chest and she resuscitates me if I'm having a bad dream. And she can bring me joy just by looking at her. Once you choose to go inward, how do you prepare the inner soil for joy? And we're going to have another 3-minute quiet time. And we're going to let you think about how you will prepare the inner soil for you to receive your joy. Okay, let's begin. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. And thank you for sharing your joy with me.
This is one of my favorite topics because it's taken me a long time to come to finding it and how to find it. And as you said, I was so glad you used the word allow because it's inside. It really is inside. You can learn some tricks to help you. Appreciation, gratitude usually gets me there right now. But as I train more with meditation and building my faith and just trusting the universe to unfold as it should. That word trust, I mean, this sounds really trite, but that is a tough one sometimes. And when I can allow and find ways to allow in my thinking that brings me to joy quicker.
Being the visual person that I am, in the meditation, I was picturing this screen and I'm trying to like conjure what joy looks like. And all of a sudden it just went totally, the black screen went totally white. And the idea was, you don't have to look for it. You don't have to imagine it. You just accept that it's there.
Part of my strategy is because I struggle with anxiety and stress, and go inward to comfort myself, and even ask the question, so what's going on? You know, what are you feeling, and what's that feeling pointing to? And a lot of times it's something from the past that's coming up, and that I go back to that past or that little boy and say, it's okay. And by the way, we're grown up now, and did you know that? Yeah, we're grown up, because I think part of me is not grown up yet. I'm still living in the past and think it's still happening. So I say these things to myself, and then I become the superhero and try to save myself. And, I'm really strong. We're Superman, and no one's going to hurt us. And then that's how I tend my ground, so that I can shift a little bit. And another part of that tending is being with people who are loving, and who are vulnerable to what's there, and who are supportive. And when I feel that love and support, then the anxiety goes away, and what's left? Well, for me, it's a combination of joy and creativity. Somehow joy and creativity are intertwined. When I'm creative, I'm joyful. And when I'm joyful, I automatically want to create something. So maybe instead of me giving joy back, I tend to give creativity back. So thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Belle again. I had to think about that, Taylor. That was so true when you said joy is inner and happiness is, from the outside. And for me, the thing that came to me was I have to continue to forgive myself and my perceived imperfections that I deserve joy. Now, when I'm not thinking about it and I'm in the moment, I allow automatically. I don't even know, it just comes. But to spend more time in that space, it's again, for me, it's a matter of feeling that I deserve it, to allow the gateway to be there for longer lengths of time. And that's why when somebody says, "Oh, thank you," I say it's my joy, meaning I get a joy if it makes someone else, if it brings them happiness. I can't say it's my pleasure, because sometimes it's not pleasurable to do what I did, but if I get joy from making them happy, I just say it's my joy. It's just automatically now. I get my joy from making them happy. Thank you.
Just my last word on it is that I know joy is not a mental thing. You can't read the word joy and mentally be there. Joy is something that you more feel. And it's kind of like when you're in the space, the inner space, all of a sudden you're in joy, and you will not get there by just mentally thinking that about the word joy. And it's probably why I think it eluded me in the earlier part of my life, when I was pretty much pursuing all mental pursuits. And so with that, we will close our service. We thank everyone in the Zoom audience, everyone here in the chapel for being with us today. And we will send you forth to the next week, and may you all have a joyous and happy week. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever God is, we are. And that's the truth. And now we are going to have our closing song.